What's up everyone? In this video I'm going to show you how to use loops in Python. So I have a repo set up here, so I'll go ahead and do the clone. And then I want to open up this folder with VS Code. So I'll open up VS Code and head to File, Open Folder, and find my repo. Okay, so now I'm going to make a new file. This will be our program file. So I'll call this loop.py. And just to make sure we're all hooked up, we'll do the print hello world. And then open up a new terminal and Python 3 and then the name of our program, and it prints hello world. Alright, so now we're ready to start talking about loops. Loops are a really powerful tool because they allow us to iterate through the program in a controllable manner. So the first loop I'm going to talk about are while loops. So while loops, it kind of makes sense just how it's even said. You're going to do some operations while you're within this loop. So for example, let's say count equals 0. And then while count is less than 5, we'll print hello world. So what we're expecting here is to print hello world 5 times. And then one of the most important parts about our while loop, we need to increase count. So we can do that by doing plus equals 1. And what that really means, plus equals 1, is count plus 1. So we would come through this the first time, count would be at 0, and then it would be 0 plus 1, so count is 1. We come through again, print hello world, count is 1 plus 1 makes 2, so forth and so on until we get to 5. Once count is 5, we're going to no longer be in this loop. So just to kind of show that, we'll do print end of loop. So I'm going to go ahead and run this program, and we'll see that we print hello world 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then we're out of the loop. It prints end of loop. Just to reiterate here, I do want to mention the importance of this count equals count plus 1. We can write this as count plus equals 1, and that evaluates the exact same way as how we just had it. But if we don't have this line right here, this loop will not be getting incremented with count, and we'll never be able to exit this loop. This would put us into an infinite loop if we didn't have this line. And that's not good. It would just print hello world like 1,000 times, and then you'd probably have to kill your terminal to get out of it. So we definitely don't want to do that. But now let's talk about for loops. So for loops are a lot like while loops, but then they kind of just take care of incrementing for us. So an example of a for loop, let's say for I in range 5. So this is going to work exactly like the while loop here, but we no longer have to do an incrementing statement. So we can just do print hello world from for loop. And then we'll do another outside of the loop, print end of for loop. So another thing to notice with Python, you do the semicolon after you declare a loop, and then all the code right here that's indented in, like this, anything in here that's indented, that is going to be evaluated as a part of the for loop. And then once you have some code that's not indented, like out here, that's how the program knows that we're no longer in the loop. So I'll go ahead and run this, and I'm expecting to still see print hello world 5 times, and then I'm expecting to see hello world from for loop printed 5 times. And that's exactly what we get. So we have hello world, so this is all while loop output, and then this is the for loop. So that ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, exactly how we wanted, but you see that we don't have to do the incrementing line in the for loop. That gets handled for us. So for loops are really nice because they do auto increment and we can't get trapped into like an infinite for loop, or it's a lot more difficult to do that, I guess I would say. Um, but there are situations where a while loop is more effective. So it is important to understand how to use both. All right, and then to just kind of bring some things together, let's do an example here where we do print how many times do you want to print hello world. Oh, and here's a little secret too. If you wanted to do quotes, because right now if I put a quote right here, right, then that ends the print statement, and hello world is no longer in this. And that's not what we want. If you put a backslash in front of your quotes, that's how you can actually put quotes within the quotes. So let me show you this real quick. So you see how it says, how many times do you want to print? And then within the, like, you have quotes here, hello world. So like, then the user would know that you're talking about a hello world statement. So that's just a little trick. It's kind of nifty. But let's say that, and then let's do, let's set our count equals to the int input, and then we'll do a while loop. Let's do a while, sure. So while, actually let's do a for loop, why not? Let's do for I in range of count, print hello world. And then we'll still do a print exiting loop. So if I run this right now, and so we get all of our output from the while, from the for loop, how many times do you want to print hello world? Let's say 10 times. So then you'll see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hello worlds printed, and then exiting loop. So that's just an example of how you can take a user's input and then use it for your loops, which gives you a lot of control over the flow and the repetitions within your programs. I wanted to take the time to say thank you for watching. I hope this gave you a good understanding of the basics of loops in Python. I will put the link to the GitHub repo that I used in this video with the code, and I'll also put a link to my Discord server in the description of this video. If you have any questions, comments, you want to get in contact with me, the Discord server is a great place to do that. Thanks again,